Once upon a time in a village by the sea, there lived a little girl who loved chewing bubblegum all day. It was her favorite treat. But one sunny afternoon, while chewing her extra juicy bubblegum, she blew the biggest bubble she had ever made. The bubble kept on growing bigger and bigger. Before Lila knew it, it was as large as a hot air balloon. Poppy explained, "You must collect 3 magical bubblegums to calm the volcano down. If Lila touched them, she would get stuck for good." So she kept on blowing bigger and bigger bubbles to bounce safely over them. Soon she reached a summit where a small patch of gumdrop plants grew. She warned Lila to be careful because it was full of popping candy that would explode if stepped on. Lila didn't hesitate. She took a piece of bubble gum and blew a giant bubble. The ground shook and hot lava bubbled at the top. Poppy gave her a shiny pink bubble gum. "Chew this whenever you want to visit again," she said. "I'll never forget you, Poppy," Lila promised. She took a big bite of the bubble gum, blew a bubble, jumped inside and floated up to the sky. As she passed by the candy cane trees, she waved to the gummy bear king. "What an amazing adventure," she whispered. The bubble floated all the way back to Lila's backyard. She landed with a gentle thud and popped off her bubble. She still had the magical bubble gum in her pocket. Whenever she felt sad or bored, she knew she could blow a bubble and fly away to the magical island. "I brought them," Lila gasped, dropping the leaves at Poppy's feet. Together, they quickly stuffed all 3 magical bubble gums into the volcano. It rumbled and burped, then suddenly blew a giant pink bubble into the air. The bubble burst, filling the sky with glitter, and everyone on the island cheered. From inside the volcano, the gummy bear king appeared. He had a crown made of gummy bears and a robe decorated with candy canes. "You're the hero of Bubblegum Island," he boomed. "Without you, our happy place would have turned into an ordinary island." "Thank you." The bubble fairies swooped down from the sky and landed on Lila's shoulders. They were tiny but friendly, with wings like dragonflies and bodies that sparkled like gemstones. "Let's fly around the island," one of them squeaked. "We haven't had this much fun in ages." The bubble fairies circled Lila as she laughed and played with them. This time she made it into a shield. She ran as fast as she could into the cave. Suddenly, a small rock fell in front of her and exploded into a shower of sparks. Another rock popped up and exploded too. Lila kept running and dodging until she reached the end of the cave. There was a bush of licorice plants growing beside a bubbling pool of purple goo. Then she turned to go home. That's when the popping candy started exploding everywhere. Lila quickly picked a leaf and tucked it into her pocket. Lila held up her bubble shield, but it was getting weaker with every pop. She needed to get out of there quickly. Lila carefully picked one flower and put it in her pocket. Taking one last look, she ran as fast as she could toward the entrance. Just when she thought she would never escape, she remembered something. They had shiny pink leaves and sweet-smelling yellow flowers. Lila struggled to free herself, but it was no use. She had only seconds before the volcanic eruption began. She took a piece of bubblegum from her pocket and blew a giant bubble. The bubble protected her from the explosions and shot her out of the cave. Lila landed safely on the ground and brushed the candy off her clothes. She held up the licorice leaf. "I found the last magical bubblegum," she said with a big smile. She took all 3 of the glowing leaves and ran as fast as she could toward Poppy. As she turned to leave, she heard a hissing sound. A huge spider was blocking her path. It had 8 beady eyes and hairy legs. "Get away from those gumdrops," the spider snarled. "They're mine." Lila wasn't scared. She took another piece of bubble gum, blew another bubble and jumped right inside. This time she made it into a bouncy ball and started to roll around. "That's the first magical bubble gum," Lila said with a smile. The spider tried to grab her, but he slipped and slid all over the sticky bubble surface. Finally, she rolled past the spider and all the way down the mountain. She landed safely on the ground and took the gumdrop flower out of her pocket. It glowed with a soft pink light. "Now I just need to find 2 more. But it won't be easy. You'll have to use your wits and bravery to find them. You can use some leaves as oars and a hollow log as a hull. It won't be a very fast boat, but it'll float." Lila gathered some large palm leaves and used them as oars. She found a long hollow log and used it as a boat. Then she pushed off from the shore and paddled out into the river. She steered her boat using the long palm leaf oars. But soon she spotted a group of jellyfish floating in front of her. They had sharp stinging cells and would ruin her quest if they touched her. Lila needed a way to get past them quickly. She took a piece of bubble gum and blew a giant bubble. It looked like a ball to the jellyfish, and they started to play with it. They bumped and jostled it all over the river. While they were distracted, Lila rowed her boat under them and across to the other side. On the bank was a bush with glowing green gum that sparkled like emeralds. Lila picked a leaf and put it in her pocket. I found the second magical bubble gum, she said. Okay, said Lila, taking a deep breath. Where do I need to go first? Poppy pointed with her tiny paw. Up ahead lies Cotton Candy Mountain. At the top, you'll find the sparkling gumdrop bush, which holds the first magical bubble gum. But be careful. It's covered in sticky spider webs that can trap anyone who touches them. Don't worry, Lila said with a wink. I'm not afraid of a few spiders. She took a piece of bubblegum out of her pocket and began to chew. She blew a giant bubble, jumped inside it and bounced up and away toward the mountain. And when it popped, it lifted her right up into the sky. Yikes! Lila screamed as she shot higher and higher above the rooftops. She felt the wind rushing through her hair as she flew over the clouds. Wow, I'm flying, Lila giggled. She looked down and saw the village getting smaller and smaller below her. Then she noticed something amazing in the distance. It looked like a sparkling pink island floating in the middle of the ocean. With a big smile, she flew towards it. It looks like my bubblegum dreams have come true. As she got closer, she could see all sorts of amazing things. There were candy cane trees that looked like lollipops. Rivers of melted chocolate flowed through the island. And instead of flowers, there were bushes of bubblegum that smelled like strawberries and vanilla. The bubblegum bush even waved at Lila as she passed by. That's right, but we need your help. Lila landed safely on the soft sand and popped off her bubble. What an incredible place, she whispered. Suddenly, a little squirrel with bright pink cheeks and a bushy tail ran up to her. Hello, said the squirrel. My name is Poppy. Welcome to Bubblegum Island, Lila gasped. A talking squirrel. This place is truly magical, Poppy nodded. Oh, what's wrong? Asked Lila. The Bubblegum Volcano is about to erupt, Poppy said, looking worried. If it erupts, all the candy and magic on our island will melt away and our happy place will become just an ordinary island. All the candy exploded at once and covered her in sticky black goo. Only a special visitor from the outside world can stop it from blowing, but you'll have to be very brave. The end. I'll do it, Lila said without hesitation. Tell me what to do. As she got closer, she could see the thousands of sticky spiderwebs hanging down from the mountain. The gummy worms were too sticky. Poppy told her, the next bubblegum can be found across the chocolate river, but you'll have to build a boat to get there. Poppy told her the third bubblegum could be found in the Licorice Cave. Suddenly, she slipped on a rock and fell. When she arrived, the volcano had begun to rumble. Before long, it was time to go. And now you know how the little girl who loved bubblegum became friends with the talking squirrel and saved the entire island. Moral: curiosity and courage can take you to magical places. Like, share, and subscribe for more sweet adventures. Click the bell so you never miss a story.